So I do audio.
Okay.
And I occasionally will do Kindle, but I haven't been on the digital for a long time. I need to be, it's a reason why I'm on a digital, it's been a while.
I just like the smell of books.
It's
I
fair.
can't,
But I've done audio, like Will Smith, to your point, I still say this every time, like that book that he put out a few years back, it's theatrical.
I need that.
You will be entertained. He's reading it. He's an actor. So he's reading it. Unless it's AI that they use, it's his voice, I would like to believe.
Okay.
And it's giving inflection. It's giving, when there's music, like when he's talking about the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you hear little remnants, but the way they did the song to
this new show that's out now on Peacock?
When he's talking about his life in his book.
Okay.
So it's his autobiography, right?
Yes.
So when he's talking about his life and he gets to the point where he got to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you literally hear the song, but it's not in the way that we know it. It was so well done.
Yeah. Okay.
I was like, listen, like I couldn't get back. I was like, I gotta finish it.
Welcome back to another episode of the Not Your Average Aunties. Ooh, ooh. How they do it on TikTok, on the ticky tock.
I got my drink in hand.
Ticky tock. Not your average aunties. Or how they do it when you do it on a YouTube channel. But welcome back to my channel.
What are we gonna talk about today, ladies? Okay. Let's get into it.
Yes.
No, for real though.
Cheers.
That's not how we get down.
Cheers, everybody.
I'm gonna take a little second.
Oh my God.
So, what are we getting into? What topic are we covering today? Something fun, exciting, serious, deep, thoughtful, provocative. We talk about it all. So
We talk about it all, but I think we're all readers.
yes,
we read a lot of books and stuff like that. So thought it'd be fun to share some of our most memorable books that we've read or books that we're looking to read, and any little bit of tidbits that we can get into just to help other fellow aunties that are readers out there too that may want to share about some books that they like. So yeah, I guess we said top 10, top 5 to 10 books.
I think it was top 10 books.
Yeah, top 10 currently reading, want to read, on the list to read, what we've read. Yeah.
Or your faves.
Faves.
I got one of my faves, Standing at the Scratch Line.
Standing at the Scratch Line.
She took my book. That is the best book I've ever read.
Okay, I'm putting it on the list. What kind of book is it?
Standing at the Scratch Line by Guy Johnson, who is Maya
Angelou's son.
Standing at the
Scratch Lines.
Okay.
His name is Guy Johnson.
Yep.
And it is a book that we both read.
Yes. Book club.
Thank you. I couldn't get your words out.
What category does this book fall into?
So it's fictional, but it's a fictional tale of a Black hero.
Okay.
Yes. Think of Rosewood.
I didn't really watch that show.
What?
Yeah.
That's a classic. You hurt my feelings.
Whatever, sorry.
So think of, so you know how you watch, it's completely different, but I want to give you what it invoked in me. You know how you watch the Black Panther? And that, what it invoked is like, wow, a Black superhero. Ooh, he's winning, he's winning. With this book, even though it's dated back, it's probably damn near 20 years. It's over 20 years old, actually.
Yeah.
It's over 20 years old. And it dates back to pre-civil rights, might be pre-civil rights, but when obviously there's a lot of racism in the South, and it's about a young brother who came out of the army, who was kind of on the wrong side of the tracks. He's a little bit, brute guy, but he had to navigate racism in the era, and then he was dealing with the inequities of what white folk were doing, but he became the hero. Like, he was the hero. And I've never read a book where we had a Black person that was like, wow, you are doing it.
And he was a smart businessman even back then.
Yes.
He sucked in whatever he can throughout his time out, and then he started buying property, and he was able to do things. He had money. Yeah. But he didn't flash it.
Nope.
It was just
It was such a good read. And it doesn't get enough. Whenever I say, Maya Angelou's son, they were like, wow, we didn't know. But it's such a great, it was something that was etched in, obviously, both of us.
Yes.
Because we never experienced that. So that by far is one of my favorite books that's going to really invoke something in you. In fact, I historically have loaned that book out to every time I loan it out, and I done bought it 3 times. I never get that shit back. That's a pet peeve. Sorry. You know who you are. I never get it, but that's one of my faves.
Yeah, excellent book. You stole my book.
Sorry. That's the time. Sorry. What about you?
I mostly like suspense and thrillers, but one of the books that I read that was by the same author was The Kite Runner and 1,000 Splendid Suns.
So that was my next one, The Kite
both
Runner.
those books.
Yes.
And those are the ones that always stay in my mind of what I've read. I read a lot of James Patterson and stuff like that. So, but those are the 2 books that stood out to me because I could not put them down. I was like, my face was in them. So really loved the book, loved the story behind it. But yeah, those are my 2.
Kite Runner I read both. Kite Runner by far is another one. It gets you.
Yeah.
You know?
Pull at your heartstrings.
Yes.
Both of them. I think for the 1,000 Splendid Suns, in terms of the woman, the female in the book, you know, the struggles that she went through as a woman that tugged at my heartstrings and stuff too. So both of 2 of my top favorite books so far.
So it's interesting. Have you ever read a book twice? Let's start there.
Yes.
Okay.
I've read it 3 times.
I don't think I've ever
The whole series.
You must have loved that shit. Which one?
Twilight. I'm sorry. The movies did not give the books justice.
I think I read a book twice. Read a book twice.
And Breaking Dawn is like damn near 700 pages, and I read that book 3 times.
Okay,
I like the movies. I mean, you know, they're YA movies, YA books, but
yeah, I know that it was just something I got into.
I mean,
apparently,
you
read that shit 3 times. I love you. That shit touched you.
Yeah, it did. Because I'm into vampires and werewolves and stuff like that.
No, that's cool. That's cool, man. That's cool. That's all good. So for me, you read it and you didn't skim through it?
No,
you read every word. So for me,
because after I read the books first, then the movies started coming out. So after the movie, I would go back and read the book. That's supposed to correlate to it, and the movies didn't give the books justice. There was things that was left out, but
that's always the case, right?
Which I get, but these books were good. Yes, they're young adults. Sorry,
it's okay. No. Hey, give me your game, baby. If you want Twilight, hey. I'd never read their books. Books. I did read maybe the first book of the Hunger Games, only because that's when my kids were like middle school. That's when it came out, and it was like the rave. In addition to Twilight, I was the Raven. I wanted to know
what they were reading.
About. So I read the one of the Hunger Games. I was like, hey, this is okay. But the reason why I asked that question is because normally I don't reread a book except for one, Sister Souljah's.
Yes, I read that book twice as well.
Which one?
The first one.
Which one is this?
That's...
Which book you talking about?
Sister Souljah.
Yeah, I've only read it once, but I've read it.
What's the name of it? We cannot think of it.
That comes behind Sister Souljah?
No, what's the name of that book?
The book.
Oh, The Coldest
Winter. Yes, there we go.
The Coldest Winter Ever. So I'm going to tell you, when I read as a teenager, I was like, ooh, I loved it.
Yeah.
I was on the edge of my seat like, oh my gosh. I went back and read this, another one of those books I loaned out, never got back. And then I was building my library and I bought it again. But now I'm an adult, probably 15, 20 years after reading it. And I went back and I said, let me just see if it's going to give me the same react. It didn't.
Okay.
Then I started reading it from a different lens and I was like, this is, it's an okay story. But as a teenager reading it, I was like, wow, this is great. As an adult reading, I was like, it's okay.
I'll tell you. So first, my first Black author books that I started reading, and I probably should not have been reading them, was Donald Goldman's books. My mother had a whole collection, El Dorado Red. It was about the pimps and hoes and prostitutes and drugs and all that kind of stuff.
What's the name?
So Donald Goldman's, they really short reads. You could get to them really quick. They were in my mom's collection. I probably should not have been reading them because I was probably like 11, 12 years old reading these books. But Donald Goldman's, great author. So I was reading a lot of those books. But again, it was about our people kind of thing. So when you think about the Sister Souljah, what's the other Black authors we used to read? Those like
you had Carl Weber,
like reading, like those are the books that I read. A lot of those books right back then, but would I look at them the same way now?
No,
probably
you're gonna have a different perspective.
Yeah. It's like.
And you know what's interesting too? So there was what's the other Black brother that used to write books, but he opens me up to LGBTQ.
Yes.
Oh, Harris.
Same thing.
Elin Harris. Now he had a way, with words.
Words.
His book,
I read all of them.
I read them all.
Yes.
Like, B-Boy Blues.
Yeah, I mean, I read them all. He was just a way, but I didn't. It opened you up to something that I just didn't know about.
Yeah,
like,
because
not to that magnitude.
Not to that magnitude, because when you think about it, and when we were younger, it was still very much a hidden society, right? So they didn't really talk about those things, especially from a Black male perspective. Like, what was the other one? Thug something. It was another book he wrote because they still was like very masculine in their.
But he more emphasized on the DL brothers.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's
what I'm talking about. Because
not so much that they were out there, just he was dealing with guys who were married with kids. And
So going through it, Invisible Life, I read.
Okay,
that was
good.
Yes.
Yeah,
Just As I Am.
Yep.
Read that one.
Yep.
And This Too Shall Pass.
Yep.
Read
yes.
that one. If This Were Mine, I think I read that one.
That was a good book.
After Anyway, the Wind
Blows.
Blows, yeah.
I might have. So after like 1997, it looks like I missed a couple of his books, but he definitely. And then what about Zane?
Zane read those books too.
Yes.
Absolutely loved it.
I think I still have some of them.
Yeah. I mean, those are books that you just kind of just got lost in a whole nother kind of world that you wasn't even exposed to, and probably wasn't even of age to try and even be in that time.
There was another author.
Donald Goins is another one.
She wasn't a sister, but she was white.
Books.
Her name is Amanda Quick. Her first book that I read of hers was The Paid Companion. Excellent book.
That name sounds familiar. Amanda Quick.
Read a lot of Terry McMillan books too.
Yeah, Terry McMillan. That's another staple.
Yeah.
You know, for Colored Girls, I don't remember the author, but I read the book and that was like chilling.
I did not read the book.
And of course, I've seen the
movie, yeah.
But I read that. And then the other book that was Push. It was Push was the name of the book.
You talking about the one with Gabrielle?
Yes.
Yes.
But the name of the book was Push. But
yeah.
It's called what was the movie? I cannot think of the movie, but when Monique paid the hell out of it.
I thought they named the movie Push because when they said they were putting it out,
no, it was something else.
I was curious to see how they were gonna depict some of the scenes in the book, and they still left some stuff out, which I'm happy that they did.
I can't remember the name. Push by Sapphire. Precious.
That's Precious. There you go.
So it was that Push. First of all, Precious was a
it was a heavy movie.
Look, ChatGPT said the content may be violent.
Yeah.
And
the movie was heavy. Yeah.
But the book was even heavier.
Yes.
And I was like, whoa. So that was one of those books that you have to like put down. You need a minute.
Yeah.
Another book to pivot that I read when I was, to your point, too young. I don't even know if I was 10. The Exorcist, and I had no business reading that shit. I never got
would not.
Yeah, I never read the book.
Listen, the movie scared the shit. I don't like scary movies. I still don't like scary movies. So I wouldn't have never read the.
That's what you're trying to tell me.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Now tell me I'm a punk. No, I love scary movies. But that it was in. I took it off the shelf, and my aunt, I never forget. She was like, "You don't need to be reading that." Me being defiant, I read maybe a chapter. I don't remember, but all I know is it got to a point. First of all, in the book, it's a boy, not a girl. That's number one. But it got to a point where I was like, "Ooh, I put that shit down."
See, and that's when there's some good writing, because when you can actually feel and envision everything,
even in my young mind, I still was able to. Yes,
that's some good writing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like it's like no detail left out. Like you just see everything visually. You can hear the different characters' voices. I like books like that because that's one of the reasons why I don't really listen to audiobooks, because I don't want to hear this. If they cannot invoke the character's tone, then I can't. If it's just the same level tone the whole time, I will zone out. I cannot do audiobooks. I have to actually read the book. And I love a physical book. I've tried the digital. Sometime I'll do it. I'll dabble in it, but I need a physical book and hold it. And I do my dog ears. People complain about that shit. Do my dog ears. But people, they lend you the book. Don't be fucking putting no dog ears on my book and all that kind of stuff. Blah, 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 blah. But yeah, so I did like a lot of that reading. I still read some, like there's this author that I know locally who writes Black love story. I'm trying to remember because she doesn't say it's Black love, or she does say it's Black love or Black romance. One of the two. She's not categorizing it as, this fantasy of Black love. So it's like you talk about the things that people really go to, but it's from the Black couple's perspective. So I think she called it Black love, not Black romance, or something like that. But I've been reading some of her books, so I kind of switch back and forth when I'm reading.
So I do audio.
Okay.
And I occasionally will do Kindle, but I haven't been on the digital for a long time. I need to be, it's a reason why I'm on a digital, it's been a while.
I just like the smell of books.
I
can't,
But I've done audio, like Will Smith, to your point, I still say this every time, like that book that he put out a few years back, it's theatrical.
I need that.
You will be entertained. He's reading it. He's an actor. So he's reading it. Unless it's AI that they use, it's his voice, I would like to believe.
Okay.
And it's giving inflection. It's giving, when there's music, like when he's talking about the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you hear little remnants, but the way they did the song to
this new show that's out now on Peacock?
No. So when he's talking about his life in his book.
Okay.
So it's his autobiography, right?
Yes.
So when he's talking about his life and he gets to the point where he got to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you literally hear the song, but it's not in the way that we know it. It was so well done.
Yeah. Okay.
I was like, listen, like I couldn't get back. I was like, I gotta finish it.
Yeah.
That one was good. Audio and even 50 Cent's book was good.
Because that's a grab.
I was told that,
50 Cent's with it had a little theatrical too.
Yeah, a book has to grab me from the first couple of pages. It can't take long to pull me in. So if the audio is that good, it definitely has to do it in the first couple of minute or two. Like, because I have an idea of how the voices sounds when I'm reading a book.
Yes.
Right? So I need the person that's reading the book to do the same thing. Even if I may not hear it the same way that they hear it, but I don't want to hear the same tone.
The monotone
throughout
and then
the book.
I did this.
Right. Yeah. Or I can't do that. I can't do that.
Vanessa Williams. So I just finished her about 3 months ago, her autobiography, but it was again via
audiobook. Okay.
And she did it with her mom.
Okay.
So they both were talking. So you wasn't just hearing her voice all the time.
Yeah.
And hers was interesting too.
That's good.
So yeah, I would definitely say, and of course I read Jada's book as well.
Okay. Interesting.
Did you guys?
No.
I haven't read either one of their books.
It was okay.
Actually.
It was her story. Like everybody wants to get on Jada's. Like, yo, that's her story. That's her truth. That's what it was entertaining.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
I mean, that goes back to a lot of the things I think we've talked about, touched upon eventually, is that people make all these judgments when we're not in that room with those people, behind those closed doors with those people. So whether everything that she put in that book is what actually happened or not, is her story at that time. And that's what she wanted to share. And same thing with anybody who puts their life out there for people to get to know them from a different perspective, right? So what are you guys reading anything at present? Have anything on the list to read? Like,
oh my goodness. So this is my problem. Over the years, I will read like 3 or 4. I don't advocate for this. I can read like 3 or 4
books at
the same time, and it's not it's not good. The reason why I do that is because it depends on what mood I'm in. So I have books I've read I've obviously read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I read that years ago.
Okay.
I'm reading For the Love of Money.
Okay.
I've read this other book. I think it's called, I know I didn't write it down. It's by a guy. I can see it, the title, damn it. He's actually from Hartsville, South Carolina, which is where my husband's books are from. I want to say his name is Michael Harriot. And he has a book about Black folk. And I guess I say all this to say, I think his name is Harriet. I think for me, it depends on what mood I'm in. I can read inspirational books. I can read books on manifestation. I can read books on just finance. It all depends on Black as fuck history. That's the one.
Oh, I want that book. It's on my list.
Yes.
It's on my list. So I was going to ask you.
So far, I'm only about 100 pages in. Yeah. I really like that book.
That's on my list to get to as well.
The unwhitewashed story of America. It's very good.
And the reason why before I ask why it's on my list, but when you're reading multiple books at one time, are they all in the same category, genre?
No.
Or okay? So
it'll be some like on finance, some on history, some that's gonna make me think. Like some like I read The Art of Negotiation, like just so I can learn something different. Or there's another one. It's not for the color of money. It's another one that I'm reading. I cannot think of the author right now, but it's about money, and I don't necessarily agree with all his ideologies, but I understand it is open in my mind about certain things. So, and it's a white author, and not that there has anything. It's not nothing bad about obviously white authors, but I'm looking at. I find it fascinating that his vantage point because he doesn't know the Black experience. So I still find it interesting.
Is he trying to write about the Black experience, or it's just about
the way I gotta get the name of the book, but the way it's talking about how poor people, which naturally is going to gravitate to people of color, their mindset and how they think. But and guys, I can't think of the name of the book, but what I will tell you is that we'll make sure that we link it in the show notes so that you have it, so you have all of the books that we're referencing. Yes, you wanted to indulge in and buy them. But he's talking about the dichotomy between being rich and how they think versus being poor and how they think, and he's put them in against each other.
Is it rich and poor, or does he talk about because it's there poor white people too?
No, it's rich and poor. He's not black, white. Got you. Like I felt like some of the things that he is referencing was like I understand that, but then some pieces of it I'm like you might be too far removed from this from the poor experience to really write about it. Yeah. And if you were poor, I don't know his history. I didn't go down the rabbit hole of doing the research. If he was, sometimes you can be coming from destitution and elevate yourself and you still get disconnected. Yeah, you could be very disconnected, whether it's subconsciously or not. So I don't know something. And again, I'm reading that in tandem with Black as Fuck.
Okay, may not be a good combination.
I don't know if it's a good combination, but it's either way, it does open my eyes to different things that I would not have been exposed to. Yeah. Okay. But certain things I don't necessarily agree on. But I'm not through the book. I'm like 125 pages in, if that, on that book too. Okay. So to answer your question, long-winded, as always, I'm long-winded, but it's a whole bunch of shit. Because there's some things I want light. Yeah. Okay. I don't want to be heavy.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Then I'm also reading a book on menopause because the bitch was struggling. I was reading a book on spirituality and stones and fucking crystals and shit. Because I was grabbing at the streets like, bitch, need help.
Something gotta work here. This what's going on right now ain't. So yeah,
it ain't it.
So it's a whole bunch. It's a wide variety of things. Yeah. How about you? Do either one of you read multiple books at a time?
I've done it.
Yeah, I've done
it. But it doesn't work for me. So because then I'll never finish either one of the books. So exactly. I try not to do that. So right now, I'm aspiring to be a residential sommelier. But
give it to them, baby. Give it to them.
Yeah. I love my wines. But yeah, right now I'm reading a book on wines. It's called Wine Simple.
Okay.
By Aldo Sohm. He was a lead sommelier at our wine spot that we went to in the city. I can't think of the name right now, but it was in Harlem, I think, actually.
Okay.
But he was a lead sommelier there. So I'm reading his book now, but it's supposed to from a simple perspective, like don't all the complexities, because there's very complex things about wine. But so I'm reading that book right now. But I also follow, like I'm collecting my list of books. So they have book talk, TikTok book talk. So they have book talk. And I've been like gradually building a list on there. So that's where the Black as Fuck book caught my eye on that list. But I like to read things in different genres. Again, health, finances, love my suspense and thriller, love my Black love. There was this book I read a while ago. Somebody recommended it to me, and I may be messing up the title, but it's something in a mule. I think it was 40 Acres in a Mule. It may not be that, but
40.
It was.
I think I saw
it. Was reverse racism.
Okay,
so it was about this elite Black folks.
Keep going. I might have it and haven't started it yet.
And they had this, like, I guess they had white people as slaves. So it was one guy. They would go away on this trip. All the men would go away on this trip or whatever. And I think, if I remember this correctly, they both were lawyers. Okay. And one of them, I think they were opposing lawyers, but then they was friends outside, the firms and stuff. And he was inviting one of them over and saying, he would fit in because they're all financially doing well and so forth and so on. The wives are pretty much housewives or one of their own companies. And they invited him on this guy's getaway and took him to where they have the slaves at. And he got there and he's like, what's going on? Pretty much, at the disposal, they had a white girl to come in to pleasure him or whatever have you. He didn't want no parts of it. Long story short, he tried to free these white people. So it was him against these Black people who now own these white slaves. It was very
I have to read
this. It was very interesting. I have to find the correct topic. I'm not sure if it's 40 Acres in a Mule, but it's something in a mule, something acres in a mule. It was a very good book. I read it. So it was just interesting that it was reverse slavery, not racism, reverse slavery. That's
like
what it
12
was.
Years a Slave, how they conned him into,
Yeah. Maybe that's what that was based off of.
Yeah.
So that was a good book. But yeah, so that's on I'm right now just reading my wine book.
Okay.
Because when I come back with my knowledge, we're gonna do a wine tasting. We're gonna do an episode where we're gonna do a wine tasting. Yeah.
I'm all for it. Yeah, I don't have any books that I'm reading currently. Yeah.
Dwayne Alexander Smith.
What does it say?
In 40 Acres, the protagonist, Martin Gray, is a successful African-American lawyer.
Yes.
Who's invited
That's
to
it.
the legal.
Yes.
I'm telling you, this ChatGPT, all I said was a book about reverse slavery. And
yes.
That's it. The first one?
GPT.
It is 40 Acres in the Moon. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys, you don't even have to put a lot in the prompt, man. It'll give you something. You got to use it. If you guys are not using it, you better use it. You're going to get left behind with AI. That's a whole
Very good book. It really
it's a gift and a curse. I have my opinions on it, but hey, that's another topic.
No, I want to get into that. But talk about your books, and I want to get into
why she's opposed.
Yeah, why? First of all, why are you opposed to AI? I know we can talk about your book. Why?
I'm opposed to AI because now it's going to be eliminating jobs. It will eliminate jobs at some point.
And what want to bring jobs to?
How? To the robots?
To people.
To people. You have to embrace. This is the problem with technology. People said the same thing about the email system back in the late 80s.
The internet been around for years.
It's not the same thing.
Hang on. They said it's going to eliminate the admin. It ain't eliminating, or it's going to eliminate this. You just have to learn how to embrace it. And this is the problem with when you get old, you don't want to embrace technology.
Bitch, I ain't old yet.
Don't ages of me over here.
It makes so the jobs are going away, period.
Okay.
Which jobs are getting eliminated? Tell me.
It all depends on what field you're in, but it just looks like they're creating robots to be able to do the job of a human. And you're only going to need 1, 2, maybe up to 5 people to actually coordinate all that versus the jobs that's out here now.
That's what they did with centralization. When they centralize jobs, it's the same thing. Like if a job is going to be eliminated, it's not simply because of AI. It's because they were going to do it anyway.
But that's the direction it's going. Perfect example is self-checkout.
Okay.
You got all these machines that's open and you only need one person to control that versus having the human interaction with a cashier. You're not paying the robots. So once you pay that initial fee to have all that set up, you're not paying a monthly.
Right. As a business owner, I'm okay with self-checkout.
I personally like self-checkout because I don't want to deal with the damn attitudes. I don't want to deal with the person that's taking a sweet-ass time to get my shit down the freaking conveyor belt and pack
Which
it up.
I get, but then there's sometimes I don't.
Overhead cost.
But then you have the downside to that where you're doing their job.
No, I'm just packing my own groceries because I like to pack my own groceries anyway because I don't like the way they pack them anyways.
Okay.
But even then, so my thing is it could be, yes, there'll be job elimination.
We are so off topic right now.
No, they don't know what the topic is. It don't matter. We make what we want this podcast shit to be, goddammit. It's our fucking show. I love y'all. Please subscribe.
Like and comment. Yes.
Just subscribe. Like us too. No.
She just has a strong opinion on AI,
well,
and I get that.
It's bigger than AI. I have a strong opinion on folks that will fight something that's new. Something that is an emerging market or something that is, you have to be able to embrace it because yes, it's going to eliminate a certain
but it's going to make some jobs, it's going to make some jobs more efficient. It's going to make some jobs more efficient. It's going to make communication better in some cases because some people don't know how to write.
It's not going to make communication because you have a lot of those customer service things that's using AI now. And
but when I say communication, I mean like writing and stuff like that. I'm not talking about the interaction.
Yeah,
communication.
right now it's so AI has been around.
I'm not fighting it. I'm just not in full agreement of it yet. That's just my opinion.
It's going to be here, baby. So
and I'm not saying it's not going to be here.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to
learn it.
Embrace it and learn it and use it because that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, folks need to understand this shit is not going anywhere. It's only going to get better. So you need to figure out what skill sets do I need now to make it in this world. Because the skill sets that you need now,
I'm going to be needed in that space.
It's going to be different.
And
I know.
It's okay. So I'm okay with that. Where I am not okay with AI, which I thought you was going to say, is the fact that it can be used maliciously.
Yes.
About the job piece.
Yes.
I'm talking about it could get to a point where the graphics and the images are still detectable, right? Because the hands be all fucked up and shit and the eyes be all cockeyed. But it's going to get to a point where it's not, and you're not going to be able to
tell the difference
between what's real and what's
that's already happening that's happening with the voice piece right now.
Yes,
right?
so that's
even with the voice and being able to manipulate the data that's being collected.
That's the area of
that's
concern.
the part where I'm concerned about. But the job piece is like people have to understand you're gonna need to develop a different skill set to navigate and survive.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. So anyway,
to
your books.
What kind of books do you like to read?
I'm all about mystery and thrillers. So
and your vampires.
Yes, and my vampires and yes.
Dracula 1.
Actually, one of my favorite authors, James Patterson.
I like James Patterson.
But there is some books that I haven't had a chance to because right now I'm always just reading articles trying to stay abreast of anything that's going on within my career and my career path. So I'm usually reading something on finance, ways of integrating old systems into new systems, things like that, just to make sure that I'm
so you better start reading about that damn AI, girl.
Which I am. It doesn't say that I have to agree with it, though. I'm not fighting it.
You don't have to.
And I know I have to embrace it.
That's
Yes.
the thing. You have to.
I'm just not in agreement with it, no matter how much I have to embrace it.
Okay, it's all right.
So, my opinion.
And it's gonna be, listen, dudes are gonna be able to get out of cheating with the AI. Bitch, that wasn't me. I don't know who you saw. No, for real.
Because they already do that now today.
But the whole thing is, I've been saying this for years. Ever since that movie with Will Smith came out, they listening. And they've been doing it for a long time. And when you look at those movies like Mission Impossible and they showing these advanced technologies, it's already there. That's the only reason why it's in the movie. To give us a glimpse of what's to come.
Listen, we may not be alive when the robots take over the world like Terminator. We may be gone. I don't think it's that advanced yet.
Okay.
When they cloning people and everything.
They cloning people now.
I know, but I'm talking about it. We may not be alive when it becomes a danger for us. It could be our grandkids, kids.
You think it's that far out?
I'm talking about, think of the Terminator when the robots was killing people.
That's only another 20 years from now. You'll be close to.
I fuck around with me. I'll be the CEO. I'll be managing the robots. My old ass.
What was the character name in the Terminator? You're gonna be the next. What was her name? I forgot her name.
But I know what you know. No.
Sarah O'Connor.
Yes.
No, but I listen. You got to embrace it, or else you're going to be left behind. That's why I'm trying to encourage people to don't be scared of it. Like, you don't got to like it, but figure out a way where you can use it to your advantage to further yourself and your family and whatever. And if that means you learning how to code or do something, go do it, because it's not going anywhere. And if you keep saying, I don't want to do it, I'm not saying that's what you're saying. I don't want to do it. It's going to get to a point where the job that you're in, you're going to be bitter because then you didn't sharpen your skills to do something else so that you can be operational in this economy.
Absolutely.
So, going back to the book. Sorry, darling. So you like your
mysteries and thrillers.
Okay.
And lately I've been reading some, or I would like to read some self-improvement books.
There's a couple I could recommend.
There's one in particular that I want to, How to Make Shit Happen by Sean Whalen. That's one of the top 3 that I'm planning on reading. I just like reading off of the actual book. I don't like the
me too. I like the physical
audible. Because I'm already fighting with screen time all the time. I'm always on the phone or on the laptop. Sometimes I just like the smell and feel of a book.
No, I agree with that too, because by the time I come home from work, I don't look at no goddamn computer. But I have to, because listen, we got this going on. I got that going on. And what does it involve? A computer.
Yes, and editing.
The book is a good break from that. So I agree with you 100% on having a physical book, girl.
Do you think that with the onset of Audible, like being able to just auditory hearing the books and electronic ebooks, do you think that they're in 20 years, we think about how technology's progression, that it'll be less hardcover, tangible books? I think we're going to get to a point where that'll be the case.
Think about the newspaper. Remember, I used to get the newspaper deliveries, go see at the newsstand. I mean, how many do you see?
I don't see any
You only see newsstands in the city.
In the city, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Right?
Gum and
So think about that.
they might even sell edibles now. Who
You
knows?
still see them in the city in Midtown.
But you really don't see a lot of newsstands. People don't get the newspaper delivered anymore. They're reading it on the New York Times' apples on the phone and all that kind of stuff. So
get off the train and the newspaper right there.
Exactly. Your little quarter paper, your little newspaper, whatever. So I definitely think the physical book may go away because the fact that they're having the physical and digital book out there now, it's going to come to a point where the physical is going to go away. And I may be disappointed.
But it's funny. I thought it was going to happen already because the audiobooks have been out for...
But you have people who still like to read. So the digital reading is going to...
I don't think it's going to go that far.
It's going to replace the physical book. The digital book is going to replace the physical book. So you're going to have to read something on a tablet or something.
I don't think so. I think the manufacturing and distribution may be less, but they will never completely eliminate
because you do have people like us who want a physical
that still want the physical book.
Have their little books, their little libraries and their bookshelves and stuff like that. I agree. I think I don't know. I feel like it may eventually go away because a lot of people who actually like the physical books may not be around to have that in demand.
That's true.
They might not be in demand for that. So,
but it's funny because my granddaughter, she's a bookworm. So, and she doesn't like
my daughter was
audio.
the same way. Take me to Barnes and Noble. Yep.
So going to Barnes and Noble, sitting there for a day, pulling out books and reading, that's her thing, and I like that. I'm happy that she
both my daughters like
that.
physical books too.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I can go either way. I can flex either way with either going to sit in at the bookstore, Barnes and Nobles, or any bookstore for that matter, independent bookstores or whatever. Which I loved a physical book too. I just wonder. And for future, that's the reason why I asked that question, because I just think that over time, as our generation goes, we ain't staying here forever. So I think to your point, it's going to go away because there's going to be folks that are just not going to, they're going to be like, okay, it's a physical. And then as we get more sophisticated with how the audio look.
Yeah.
And the audio's
the sound
get more theatrical, right? So that you can be immersed in it. And also how the ebooks look, because then they have them now that you can physically turn the page and it kind of looks like it, so it's not looking
the same thing. You don't.
I know, but I'm just saying. You gotta think your
imagination. I smell.
He ain't gonna give a damn about a smell. She's gonna be like, let me see you pop.
Because think about it,
and
why is it not turning?
Think about what tied you to the smell of a book. It was the library, right? Yeah. When you went to the library, all those old books in there. Yeah. A new book don't smell the same way as an old book the library smell.
I just like the smell of books.
It still has some nostalgia. When I think about the scent of a book, it's the books that was from the library. Like a new book to me don't do it the same way a book in the library did. But
you smelling all the people's fingers.
That's nasty.
That is true, though.
When they go,
no. And they think about it.
There's a lot of
books have their own smell. You're not going to pick up a book.
DNA in them books. Baby.
So the older books is going to have a more distinct smell because as she pointed out.
Thanks a lot.
Keeping it a
Thanks
book.
a lot.
Keeping it a book.
Thank God I don't go to the library anymore. But anyway.
I used to love going down to the one on 42nd Street.
Yeah, the big one.
Yes.
Yeah. Remember the what is it? The index, it wasn't called index cards back then. You used to go through the thing to
the Rolodex.
It wasn't called a Rolodex.
When you're trying to figure out
what aisle and what row the book was in. What was that called?
Isn't it the index library? No,
that's something decimal, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I'm going way back.
Way back, yeah.
So, how do you like movie adaptations of books? I know a lot of times, like you said, you read books and you go to watch the movie, they left a lot out of it. So with that being said, would you rather watch the movie first and go read the book, or read the book and then go watch the movie?
I would prefer reading the book first, because then I'm looking at the movie when it comes out. For what's missing and how... And depending on the story, like Precious, I was, with the detail that was in the book, I was worried about how it was going to be depicted, because it was a good book.
Yeah, it was a lot of it.
It was an excellent book, how it was written.
Yeah, it was done. Movie was done well, but they couldn't depict all that.
Exactly.
It was too heavy.
So some books that I've read, I would prefer them not make it
into a movie,
because it ruins the actual image and picture that you had in your head as you was reading the book. Because now I'm going to be picking at every little thing that I see.
And that's why I probably would do the reverse. I probably would watch the movie and then go read the book.
Yes. So I'm a big advocate on cartoons back in the day. Thundercats was all-time favorite.
Me too.
And they were about to bring that movie out. And I'm going to be critiquing that movie in every way, shape, and form because I used to bust my ass to get home by 4 o'clock to catch Thundercats on the TV. So when the movie comes out, I'm real interested to see how and I understand that the technology and how they are doing the movies now have improved.
Yeah.
So they better do it justice.
They're using AI. No.
I'm showing you my authentic self. I've been good.
No, first of all, half the movies that you probably what's one of your favorite movies that you watched recently right now?
One of the favorite movies
that you watched recently within the last 5 years.
I've been watching more shows. I haven't.
It's some form of AI. It's even fucking Titanic had some digitized.
I was mad with the Transformers. The first one was good. Second one was okay.
The last one,
no,
I liked it.
When you think of the Titanic,
they used a little bit too much AI.
That was fake, folks.
And Planet of the Apes. I know they use it. I know it's
some
AI.
Some of them do really well. Some of them not so much.
Yes,
because of the technology back
then.
It's
getting better.
So your Thundercats gonna have some AI in it.
And I'm not saying it's not. So they better bring it truly to life because you could do a lot more with the animation piece.
For sure.
So I'm seeing how it's supposed to be a live depiction of the cartoon. It's not going to be
so human.
Yes, it's going to be a human-like. Yeah.
Okay.
So with Game of Thrones, that was my jam. I started reading the books. I didn't finish, but I did read book 1. And to your point, there's so much detail. And the reason why I didn't finish, I'll probably at some point go back and finish the
and that's what I regret now, because now I'm not rushing to go read the book.
First of all, the whole book 1 is completely different from what you saw in the series that we saw.
And a lot of the comments said
they veered
that.
off.
Yeah,
I didn't watch.
It was very good. It was the book 1 was very good,
excellent.
And I'm a Game of Thrones fan too. So I always find the books are way more better than we. So case in point, as a teenager, I don't think I was a teenager yet, but as a young adult, a young woman, I read Flowers in the Attic.
Ooh,
I read those books. I love.
Yes,
that was a classic.
V.C. Andrews. I love her books. Yes.
As a young type, I read Beverly Clearly, Ramona. Back in, so she had Beezus and Ramona. She had like the whole.
Yes.
She recently just passed. I think.
But they've been putting the V.C. Andrews books in
V.C. Andrews, so
Lifetime.
I think so.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of them.
The Attic is not that it was a bad movie, but the book was just more
better.
gripping.
Yeah.
So 9 times out of 10, the book is always much more better than the movie.
And it has a lot more detail.
And that's why I will watch the movie first and then go read the book because I don't want to be sitting there nitpicking the whole time. I'll go read the book and be like, okay, all right. And it'll still capture me versus if I was to read the book and go watch the movie, it probably lose my interest if it's not giving me what the book was giving me. I'll probably start the movie and be like, I ain't watching this shit because it's missing so much stuff. So
Gotcha.
Emperor of Ocean Park, that's on.
Yeah, I know that. I asked you about that. Yeah.
Streaming, I can't remember right now.
Is that the one with what's the actor?
With the eye.
Yes, it's on MGM.
Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah, I haven't watched that. So you guys read that book?
We did in our book
in the book club.
I love the book. I didn't love it.
One of the worst books we've
really?
read. I'm sorry.
That wasn't. I don't think anybody in the book club
liked the book.
Did not like that book at all.
So do you think you guys gonna like the show?
I'm gonna, because I'm a big believer.
And I love Forrest Whitaker. I
love Forrest Whitaker. First of all, him in The Godfather of Harlem.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss. But I really enjoy him, and plus I like to support. So I'm going to watch the show.
Okay.
And to be fair, because this auntie getting up there in age, I don't remember half the shit that was in that.
I mean, neither. That's how bad it was.
I just remember, I remember reading it and not liking the book, but I don't remember. So I'm gonna give it a go, and I'm gonna obviously support our Black actors.
The other book that we read, I hope they don't attempt to make a movie. The Polished Hoe.
Yes, that's the.
I don't remember the author.
That was another one, A Polished Hoe.
Yes,
it's not good.
Horrible.
It was horrible.
Y'all make me want to start a book club. I've never been a part of a book club. Y'all make me.
Yes, I've been wanting. I was going to discuss it. Yes.
Start a book club with us.
Yes.
What are we going to call this book club?
Recommend some books that we may not have mentioned this episode.
Matter of fact, we're going to do it.
Okay.
We made the decision right now. We're going to start a book club.
Okay.
We're going to figure out. This is probably. We'll let you know.
Yes.
We're going to start it. And then when we do, we're going to put it out there and hopefully you guys could join us. And then we will actually maybe hold a Zoom or something where we can actually
you have a conversation about the book.
About it.
Okay.
See how we did?
Yes.
Hello.
No, this has been good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Reading is fundamental, as they always say.
So before we end, let's give 3 of book choices that you would like to, or about to, or into right now.
You go first, baby.
The 3 books that I have is Life After Death by Sister Souljah.
In the genres of those books, if you have it, but go ahead.
No genre. I think that's just...
well, we know what the genre of Sister Souljah is.
I read that.
And 2 self-improved books will be Think Faster, Talk Smarter by Matt Abrams and Get Out of Your Own Way by Mark Goulston and Philip Goldberg.
Love it.
So can I cheat and go to my Amazon account and look at the last 5 books I fucking bought, didn't crack open yet?
Go ahead. While you do that, I'll list my books. So
Okay.
No.
I started reading the Atomic Habits.
Atomic
Yes,
Habits. Okay.
that was a recommendation from my life coach.
Okay.
So, because I'm not a person who is very, very regimented.
Okay.
And I'm finding out at this young age of mine that that's not working for me.
No.
So I need some sort of kind of schedule and a routine in place. So I'm reading that. Health-wise, I want to read this book called Back to Eden because I love to, I'm trying to grow my own garden and all that kind of stuff. So definitely want to do that.
Okay.
And then in terms of a thriller, I'm hearing a lot about this actor called Kia Abdullah, so Next of Kin. I'm going to check that book out.
Okay.
That's what I'm working on.
So I'm reading this book right now. I failed to mention. It's called Manifest Now. I really like it.
Okay.
It's by Adil Ahmed.
Adil Ahmed. Okay.
I also haven't started, but I'm going to read it. I have it at home.
Okay.
Our Kind of People Inside America's Black Upper Class. And the one that I
That's
talked
a
about.
lot.
Remember I talked about with the just referenced earlier about the guy and I didn't agree with all his ideologies. It's called Psychology of Money.
Okay.
Timeless Lessons of Wealth, Greed, and Happiness. So I'm reading that one. And I guess it's more, but let's just rock with them. I got so many.
Because she reads 4 and 5 books at a time.
But you don't get
That's the different personalities going on in her head.
Yo,
yes.
just I'll just disclose. I don't give a damn. Y'all can judge.
I see the number
judge your
right
mama.
here.
I got 234 orders of books. That physical books that I have, and sometimes I don't always get through them.
So put in the
That's her
comments
eclectic personality.
what you're
That's
reading.
why we love her.
Oh, put in the comments. Put in the comments what you're reading. Put in the comments some recommendations based off of what you see that we all like. We love thrillers. We love self-help books. We love finance books.
Yes.
And
we'll vote. We'll do a vote and we'll get the book and then we can do a book club. We'll try to get that going before year end. We'll try.
Yes.
Don't hold us to it.
That's a wonderful way to give it and take it right back. You sure?
Well, because this one read 5 books. So listen, hey.
Okay, unfortunately, we have said it, so we have to follow through. Yes.
If we said we're going to do it, man, cheers. I'll
Cheers.
see you at the book club.
See you at the book club.
Don't forget to
at Barnes and Noble.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yes.
All right. Y'all crazy.